Hi, Sarah Banas here, Spectrum Weavers. Let's talk today about layering in Cricut Design Space, and then the process that you'll follow once you have cut your different layers. The process that you'll follow to put those layers together. A couple of things. If you can like the video and follow me, I'm going to be releasing new videos fairly regularly, at least once a week. Lots of good stuff that'll help you improve your design skills. The other thing is that I'm going to link in the description of the video. I'm going to link a couple of groups that I mod and admin on Facebook, where again there's a lot of good information. There's one that I actually put my own designs for people to download and use for free. So go ahead and uh, join those groups and like the video and follow the channel. Okay, so let's get to it here. So you can see I have a couple of different designs here. So let's first look at because there's a couple of different types of layering. So, and obviously there's two. Let's first look at the actual types. The first two types are HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl, and so that a lot of people call that iron-on. Same thing. Um, and then the other would be self-adhesive, which would be Oracle 651 is one you're probably familiar with. There's lots of others. There's StarCraft, Style Tech. There's quite a few different brands. So there will be two different ways of handling the two designs when you layer. Let's first take a look at this. So this would be a layered design, but it's not layered on top of itself. So let's first figure out here how to deal with, because you can see that right now this is a single attached image right here. You see when it's selected, both of these are highlighted. So what I need to do is one of two things, either ungroup it or detach it. So this one is set up that it needs to be ungrouped. You can see ungroup is highlighted. So the other, if it were detached down here, it would say detach, not attach. So click ungroup, and now that'll make it two separate layers. So I now have my heart layer and I have the dog layer. Okay. So if I were going to press this in HTV, what I would do is I would first press the dog, because if I just pressed the heart, then I would have no idea where that design was going to end up on my garment. So in this case, I would press the dog first. And for HTV, the way you would do that, you would tack press it. So you would want to, because HTV shrinks just a tiny little bit each time you heat it. So to keep your layers from getting out of alignment, what you'll want to do is you want to tack press your layers. So if you're using an iron or if you're using a heat press, you're going to press it just 2 to 3 seconds. A little bit longer if you're using an iron. 2 to 3 seconds will be sufficient if you're using heat press, just long enough to get the carrier sheet off. So you'll press it for that couple of seconds, pull your carrier sheet off, and then you'll have just this black layer down. And then you'll take your pink heart and then you'll lay that down here, put a piece of either Teflon or parchment paper over it, and repress and do a full press at that point. At that point, all of it will shrink together at the same rate and everything will stay in alignment. I said parchment paper. Please be aware that there is a difference between parchment paper and wax paper. Wax paper is not what you're looking for. Parchment paper is baking paper. You'll find it in the baking aisle at the supermarket. The difference between using parchment paper and using Teflon sheet will last you forever. They're not very expensive. You can grab them on Amazon. Parchment paper will last you a few presses. The other difference is that it will change the finish on the heat transfer vinyl just a little bit. You're going to get a shinier finish when you use parchment paper. You'll get a more matte finish when you use a Teflon sheet. Okay, so that's this design. Oops. And I'll go ahead and I will link all of these designs in the description as well. You see, I went back there. That I don't know why, but it takes Design Space a little bit of time to process that request. So I'll go ahead and I'll minimize this. Okay, and then this layer, this one is going to be a little bit different. So now you can see that, and then you would be adding a name here too. So you would have an additional layer as well. Or you could add the name in and then weld that, if you want to do it in black, and then weld that with the black, and then that would make all of that one single layer. But you can see that each of these leaves the petals are their own separate layer on here over on the right hand side. Obviously, you don't want that. So select it. And again, you're looking down here, detach is not what you want. Up here, ungroup. Okay. So ungroup it. And now what you'll want to do is you'll want to move the black without disturbing the yellow. So grab that black layer and move that. Okay. And with that over to the side, you want to select all of your yellow. And then on top of it, right click and click weld. And then that's going to make that all one single layer, and that will now all cut together. So now what you're going to do is you would cut 2 layers. So you would cut this and you'd cut this. Here, let's well, I have too many things up right now. At the end of the video, I'll show you what happens when we go over to make it. When we go to make it, if I want to make it right now, and if I only had these 2 items on my mat, and I want to make it, what would happen is it would bring up 2 separate mats on the make it screen. One would have the yellow flower, one would have the black. It's going to give you one mat for each color that you have. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your cutting mat, and you're going to put the color of vinyl or paper, whatever it is you're cutting, that corresponds with the color that you want this to be. So I would do one in yellow and one in black. And then it'll prompt you. It'll show you when you're ready to load your yellow mat. And then when you take that out, when you're ready to load your black mat. So that's how you'll get the 2 layers. Okay. And then once you've cut and weeded, for anybody who doesn't know what weeding is taking away the negative space. So when you cut this, you would be pulling all of the vinyl away that is not part of the flower. So that's what weeding is. Okay. So once you have cut and weeded these, then you would go ahead and, again, assuming that you are doing it in HTV, you would tack press this for just a couple of seconds, take your carrier sheet off, and then lay this on top. Okay. And then you would tack press that. And then you can pull that carrier sheet off of the yellow as well. And then, you can either do a full press at that point and not pull the carrier sheet off the yellow until you've done a full press, or you can tack press the yellow as well and then pull the carrier off and then do a full press without any carrier on at all. That's what I usually do. Okay. So, and I'll show you when we get a little bit further along here, I'll show you the difference and how you would deal with that if for self-adhesive vinyl. Okay. So that's one that's layered on top. Okay, so now this one, this is again like the dog where it's layers, but it's not layered on top of anything. So again, ungroup. Okay, and this is going to give me more pieces than I would actually prefer. I'd prefer this be set up where, I'll show you over here. If you look on the right-hand side, you can see that all of these are pieces of this design. So if I had designed this design, I would have made all of this one solid piece, and then I would have made these uh, separate pieces. It would just made it a little bit easier. But I can grab just those. Oops. See, it makes it a little bit harder to grab just what you're looking to grab. It's not going to let me do that. So what I'm going to do to grab just that heart and move the heart without disturbing the black is I'm going to go over to the right-hand side, and I'm going to click on the first one, and then I'm going to press Control. I'm going to click on the second one with Control held down still. Click on the third one, Control still held down. Click on the fourth one. That selects just that. Okay, I'm going to move that over. And now I'm going to select all of this. And you can see that is all of these parts over here, okay? I want this all to cut as one layer. So I'm going to weld all of that together. Okay, and now it's one layer. Now, see how when I click on it, See how it's one layer over here? So it will all cut exactly like that on the mat. So right now, what I will have 5. Okay, so now you see when I select that, this one, you're sometimes you have to ungroup twice. So we had to ungroup the whole thing, and now this is grouped together as well. So you'll ungroup that as well. And now you have separate pieces, okay? So when I send this project to cut, it'll give me 5 mats. It'll give me a mat for each of these 4 colors and then a mat for the black. And again, load your vinyl on, cut it, weed it, and then assuming that it's HTV, you're going to always want to press the largest piece that's going to define where the whole thing ends up on your, on your project. So I would press this, tack press the black, and then I would tack press this. And the more layers, the quicker you want to get those tack presses out, because the longer that you press each layer for, the more it's going to shrink, in between presses. And you don't want to lose that alignment. So you don't want to give a full press until that last press. And then I would press this. And then I would press this. All tack presses. Oops. So actually see how they have that set up. This one would actually go first. So, and sometimes you'll find that with designs, you just have to kind of play with them. So, well, I can put this one here. It doesn't matter. I'll put that one there. But this one would go next because that's see how that's the bottom, how that doesn't fit into the puzzle. They did that so that you don't have any spaces in between. So that would go on. This one would go on first, the blue, and then you could layer them in, any order you wanted to after that. So then once you have all of these 5 layers laid down, you have them all tack pressed on there. And again, HTV, you are tack pressing each layer. So black goes down, carrier sheet comes up after you've tack pressed it. Then your blue goes down. Then you have to put the parchment or the the parchment or the Teflon on top of that so that you're protecting that layer the black layer that you've already pulled the carrier sheet off of. So tack press the black, carrier sheet off. Teflon down, tack press the blue, Teflon down, tack press that, pull the carrier sheet off, yellow goes down, and on until you have them all down. Then once it's all done, then you do a long press for 30 seconds or however long you're pressing it for and get the whole thing. You get the whole thing, it all shrink down together. So it's all one solid layer then, okay? So that's this one. The next one, so this one, this is actually a design I made. So the font that I used to make this, the ASL font that I used to make the hand, super cool font because what they did is they actually gave the font 2 layers. So the font has an outline layer and it has a fill layer. So you're able to put that color in there. So I will ungroup that. And again, with my designs, I always weld everything together so you can see that this design, this is all already one solid piece. So it's 2 layers, this and this. I would cut this in black, cut this in blue, weed them both. I would press that, tack press that. Then I would put down my blue layer and tack press that. Just a little bit off. Okay. And then I would tack press that, and then I would do a full press on the whole thing. And that is for that. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something kind of neat. Okay. So what this is a really neat tool. This will allow you to make anything that you want buffalo plaid. You can HTV, self-adhesive, any colors you want. You can make any design or any font that you want buffalo plaid with any 2 colors of vinyl that you have. So let's go ahead. Let's go really easy. Let's make a circle buffalo plaid. And let's make that just the standard colors. We'll make it red and black. So what you're going to want to do, let's say this is your design. Okay. So this is your design. You're going to want to duplicate your design. Okay. Take it over here. I should have made that red first. That's fine. Make these both red. Okay. And so with your design duplicated, this will be your base layer over here. And this is going to be your top. So put that there. Draw a square to select both. Slice. Click on this to get rid of it. Delete. Move this over to the side. Get rid of that. Delete. This over to the side. Get rid of that. Delete. And there you go. Buffalo plaid. So, super duper easy, right? So, and you can, now again, you can make it so you can make that any color you want. Maybe you want your buffalo plaid not to be the normal colors. Maybe you want it to be yellow and green. And there you go. Super easy. So again, HTV, you would tack press this layer, pull your carrier sheet off, tack press this layer, pull your carrier sheet off, give it a full press, and there you go, Buffalo plaid. And I will link that template to do that in the description as well. Super cool. And you saw how easy it is. And you can even do that to any font, like I said. So you can make anything that you want Buffalo plaid. Everybody loves Buffalo plaid. So let's go ahead and we'll take this and we'll put this off to the side. And now I'm going to show you if we were dealing with self-adhesive, I'm going to show you how to make registration marks, okay? So registration marks, what registration marks do is it will give you the ability to layer self-adhesive vinyl. So HTV, you can reposition. You can put it down and then you can kind of move it and you can make sure that you have it exactly where you want it before you press it. Self-adhesive, that's not the case. You got one shot and you're done. That's it. You mess up, it's the project's ruined, or at least off. It's not how you wanted it. So, registration marks, what they do is they allow you to, instead of trying to eyeball and trying to figure out exactly where this goes and laying it down, and trying to get super super close and get it exactly right. What the registration marks do is it gives you an opportunity to match up two squares instead of matching up, uh, a design that has all of these squiggles on it that you're trying to it's just easier. So let's go ahead. I'll make some registration marks. What you want for your registration marks is so you take one square because you want all of them to be the exact same size. Okay, so, and actually rectangles are a little bit easier than squares. So for a rectangle, you're going to click right here on the block and stretch that out just a little bit. Okay, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to duplicate that. So you're going to actually duplicate that 4 times. Okay, and so put 2 of them right about in the same location. So put them side by side. And you're going to want to put them not too terribly far above the design, but you do want to give yourself a little bit of room to work with. So let's call it right about right there. Okay. Now what you need to do is you need to make sure that these are aligned. So you're going to want to select both of them and you're going to want to go to align. And then you're going to want to center vertically, okay? And then you're going to want to weld those together. And actually, you can just get rid of these two. Realize that. So you can get rid of these two, okay? And so now you're going to take that and you're going to duplicate that, okay? And you're going to want that to be the blue of your hand, okay? So make that the blue, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to lay these two together and you're going to align, and then this you're going to align vertically, and then you're going to align again horizontally. Okay, so they're exactly perfect on top of each other. Then you're going to click on that to select it, and then Control, and I'm actually going to do it over here on the right-hand side, so I'm sure I grab it, but you can also grab it over here. So I'm going to, with Control held down, I'm going to click on that. Okay, now that has those two selected, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to weld those together. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to move that to the side. Okay, and now I'm going to take that and I'm going to take this and I'm going to weld that together. Okay, and so now you have your two layers, but now you have them with registration marks. So now when you go to lay down that your self-adhesive vinyl, you're not trying to line up the you're not trying to line up the hand or the text or things that are odd shapes. All you're trying to do is line up these two top squares. So once you have those two top squares aligned, that'll perfectly align. Oops. Once those are perfect, so when you're holding it and those are perfect, then you lay that down, and your design will fall right exactly where it's supposed to fall. In the next video, I'll do a physical video of me physically putting it together so that you can see that process happen. But that's how you build the design end of it, so that when you cut it, those registration marks are there. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of some of these just so that I can show you what happens when I send a design to the mat. I want to show you the layers and how that works. I'll keep the one that has the most layers so that you can see all of the mats. So bring this over here, get rid of this. And now all we have left is our 5 layers for this design. Okay, so when I click make it, then you'll see each of these mats. So black, you can see each of them. And if you want to move your things on the mat, you can. And this will show you how much vinyl you need to cut. That's the amount of vinyl that you need for this project. And you put so the first thing you would do is you would load your black onto the mat, and then when you press continue, obviously you're going to get your next. It's going to tell you to select what kind of material you're cutting. And then once you select that and press OK or whatever it is, then you'll load it right into the Cricut, and it'll give you the flashing C, and then you press it and cut and weed, and then go ahead and once you have all 5 cut, again, if it's HTV and cut and weeded, then if it's HTV, you would tack press until you have all of it into the full press. And then if it's self-adhesive, again, you would either put your registration marks in, or some people do prefer to eyeball it. I've been doing this so long that for me, it's easier for me to eyeball than to use registration marks. For many people, registration marks are easier. But really, I mean, that's about it. There's not really much else to layers. Now you have an understanding of, how the basic layers are built and how they're dealt with. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask them in the questions below on the video. Like I said, please make sure that you do like the video. The more people that like it, the more people that see it. Hopefully, it helps someone. And then follow me so that you get notifications of the new videos as they come out. And take a look at those groups and, join us on Facebook. Lots of good stuff there. Okay. Have a good day. Bye.